The topic of this lesson is Balance Your Life, Boost Your Mind. This topic highlights the importance of having a balanced lifestyle by taking care of both mental and physical health. Through various teaching activities, students can gain deeper understanding of what balanced lifestyle is and how it can be practiced in their daily life. Topic is chosen because it is relevant to students' daily life and is aligned with the theme, which is health and environment. It is also supports students' holistic development and promotes positive values by encouraging students to take care of their well-being.
The learning objectives align with HAFIDZ and the chosen learning standards by guiding students from understanding to application of knowledge. Firstly, the objective to identify main ideas C2 aligns with the listening learning standard 1.1.1, as students must understand and interpret the main ideas in longer familiar texts. This reflects the understanding level of C2 of Bloom's taxonomy and forms a necessary foundation for higher order thinking. Secondly, the objective to prepare a poster with main ideas C3 aligns with the Speaking Learning Standard 2.1.1, where students apply what they have learned by selecting key information, organizing it visually, and explaining it orally. This reflects the applying level C3 of Bloom's taxonomy and encourages higher order thinking through decision making and meaningful communication. Overall, the objectives support HAFIDZ by moving learning beyond passive comprehension to active application, while clearly aligning with the listening and speaking learning standards to promote critical thinking, collaboration, and real-life language use. Thank you.
Alright, now I will talk about the set induction. So the purpose of the set induction in our lesson plan is for schemata activation, interest stimulation, and also motivation. At the beginning of the lesson, it is important to let students connect what they already know to the new topic. At the same time, we want them to feel interested and motivated before starting the main activities. In this lesson plan, this is achieved through a short interactive game. The game involves movement and also time pressure, which helps students to stay alert and focused. It also helps to create a fun and positive learning environment. Besides that, the answers given by students are directly linked to this lesson topic. So students are already thinking about health, feelings, and also ways to relax even before the lesson officially starts. For specific examples, the teacher first displays the game slide, which is the 5-second rules slide. This immediately gets student attention because, as we all know, students often enjoy playing games rather than just listening to pure lecture. Then the teacher uses a softball, where students throw the ball to their friend, and every time a student catches the ball, they are only given 5 seconds to give their answers based on the categories shown in the slide. Thus, the categories used in the slides, such as ways to relax or good feelings, are related to the topic of the lesson. And this directly helps students to activate their prior knowledge in a fun and meaningful way. In terms of excerpts from the lesson plan, these are the steps taken during the activity. So first of all is teacher displays the 5-second rule slide, and then teacher throws the ball to a random student. Next is teacher counts down loudly from 5 until the student gives their answers. And lastly is the teacher instructs the student to throw the ball to another student after answering. So through these steps, students are actively involved, motivated, and also mentally prepared for the lesson.
In this pre-lesson, the learner's schemata are activated through sensory engagement Imagination and emotional association. At the beginning of the pre-lesson, the teacher instructs students to close their eyes and focus on the teacher's voice. This step immediately shifts students' attention inward and encourages them to draw out their prior experiences and memories rather than relying on visual input. Next, the teacher introduces the idea of cinema of the mind. By doing this, students are prompted to visualize scenes in their head, imagination, which activates their existing knowledge and personal experiences related to sounds, place, and emotions. When the teacher plays the first audio, such as rain and a thunderstorm, students naturally recall past experiences they may have had with the similar sounds. These experiences could include moments of sadness, fear, calmness, or reflection. This process directly connects new auditory input to learners' prior knowledge. Then the teacher asks students to guess the emotion related to the audio and explain their reasoning. This encourages learners to access their emotional schemata and articulate how their past experiences influence their interpretation of the sound. As the teacher plays the remaining audios and repeats the questioning, the learners continuously activate and reinforce their schemata. By the time the teacher asks students to open their eyes and introduces the lesson topic and learning goals, the students are already mentally engaged and cognitively prepared for the lesson.
Now moving on to the input stage for the lesson development, it starts with the rationale here is to teach the students how to identify main ideas before the teacher actually tests them in the task section. So in this section, we don't play the audio immediately, but instead display the blank bubble map first and distribute that as handout 1 along with a list of key vocabularies that the students can look out for in the task section later. So the handout contains the bubble map, but the main ideas are missing. So the teacher instructs the students to read the supporting details first, and this helps prepare their brains to predict what would the audio be about in the next section. Next, when the teacher wants to model how to predict main ideas for the bubble map, the teacher would use a strategy called think aloud modeling, which when the audio ends, the teacher would visualize or say aloud their thinking process, such as, I heard the words angry and sad. So I think these are feelings. So the main idea must be negative emotions. So the teacher writes the answer negative emotions in branch 1, and this shows the students how to link the audio with the main ideas of the bubble map. So this helps the students to make sense of how the audio is linked to the bubble map that is displayed in front of the class. Moving on, before the teacher moves on to the task that tests their learning objective 1, I asked the students to predict the rest of the remaining main ideas bubble in the bubble map using the given main idea bank and the list of vocabularies to help them. So for this section, I give them 2 minutes, and this ensures that they aren't just guessing blindly, and they can read each supporting details from the bubble map in order to get the correct answers. And additionally, there is another activity after this, that is CNC, that the teacher instructs them to choose the best main idea according to the assigned image that they receive during the CNC activity. Next is the task section for this lesson plan in the lesson development stage, and this involves the targeting of the learning objective 1 that is contained in the lesson plan, which is to identify 5 correct main ideas. So in this stage involves a podcast audio, which is 1 minute in duration, and 8 multiple choice questions that the students need to answer, and from those 8 questions they need to answer 5 of them correctly. So in this section, the teacher will play the audio for 2 rounds, and after the first round ends, the teacher would give students 10 seconds to review the answers, And after the second round of listening, the teacher would give the final 10 seconds for the students to finalize their answers before the teacher collects the MCQ handout. And the teacher would use an online timer to keep track of the time. And as a differentiation strategy, the teacher would also give extra time to the students who are struggling to answer. Finally, going into the feedback stage of the lesson plan in lesson development section, the teacher would use this feedback session to visualize student understanding instantly and facilitate peer correction rather than solely the teacher correction in the traditional sense. So in this section, the students are given two signs, one green sign and one red sign, and the teacher would pick random students to read out their answers for the multiple choice questions done in the task section before this. So for each question, the teacher would ask the students to raise their green signs if they agree with the answer from their friends, or raise their red sign if they disagree with the answers from their friends. So after all 8 questions were discussed by the students, the teacher would ask the students who got 5 or more correct answers to raise their green signs to monitor the progress or the level of understanding that the students have achieved from the task that was done.
Right now, I will talk about the differentiation strategy that are used in this lesson plan. First is differentiation strategy 5. So, differentiation strategy 5 is about differentiate the time for people to complete a task. So, based on the lesson plan provided, here are specific examples that illustrate how differentiation strategy 5 is achieved. First, a flexible timing for struggling learners. Differentiation strategy 5 stated that when appropriate, pupils who find the task difficult should be given little more time to finish. This lesson plan explicitly incorporates this in their steps. Here is our example. Teachers give extra time to students who are struggling to identify the answers. And second example is teacher give extra time for students that are struggling to prepare a poster. Next, this strategy is also to standardizing pace for the class. This is to manage the flow of the lesson before offering that extra help. The teacher uses a timer to establish baseline speed for the class. This is the example in the lesson plan. Teacher gives 10 seconds for students to finalize the answer after the second listening, and teacher uses an online timer to track the 10 seconds given to the students. Now, moving on to the second differentiation strategy that were used in this lesson plan, which is differentiation strategy number 1. So, this differentiation strategy is about differentiate by instructions and feedback. This is achieved through peer checking to build confidence. How this achieved and how is it connected to the strategy? So, based on the SOW, the strategy advises to allow pupils to do a peer check before the whole class feedback to encourage confidence and shared responsibility. So this is the example based on the lesson plan. Teacher asks students to discuss in pairs which idea on the bubble map is the most important for mental health. Secondly, this differentiation strategy is also achieved through corrective feedback. So how is it connected? The strategy involves checking, understanding, and providing the specific feedback on errors. For example, based on the lesson plan, the teacher corrects the student's mistake if there are any. And secondly, the teachers corrects grammar mistakes found in the student's poster if there are any. So this both showcases that how this differentiation strategy are used in this lesson plan. And that's all from me. Thank you.
For the post-lesson stage, the focus is on enabling students to apply and extend their understanding from the listening activities through a meaningful, student-centered task. At this stage, students move from identifying main ideas individually to producing a collaborative outcome, which is a poster related to mental health awareness. This allows students to transform listening input into a visual and communicative product, reinforcing comprehension while integrating speaking skills. During the input phase, the teacher informs students that they will be creating a poster and introduce a real-life scenario where the school is organizing a mental health day. This scenario contextualizes the task and ensures relevance to students' daily experience. Students are required to create a poster focusing on ways to release stress, which directly aligns with the lesson theme. The teacher then distributes the scenario handout and a sample poster to clarify expectations. The sample poster functions as scaffolding to help students understand the structure of an effective infographic. The teacher models how to design the poster by highlighting the central theme and explaining how supporting main ideas should be organized around it. Students are reminded to refer to the bubble map and listening worksheet from earlier stages to maintain continuity and reinforce the identification of main ideas. To encourage creativity and higher order thinking skills, students may include one additional relevant idea. During the task phase, students work in groups of 4, promoting collaboration, discussion, and idea sharing. Adequate time is given to complete the task, with additional time provided to support learners who need it as part of differentiation. In the feedback phase, selected groups present their posters. The teacher provides constructive feedback on content clarity and language use, correcting errors when necessary. Overall, the post-lesson activity consolidates learning by allowing students to demonstrate understanding, practice communication skills, and develop collaboration while promoting awareness of mental health.
Without further ado, I will now explain about the closure. So for the closure, the lesson plan focuses on personal connection through a pledge as well as participation and sharing. It also emphasizes on reflection and values, which helps students to think about what they have learned. This is done by first having the teacher to ask students about how they feel after the lessons, allowing them to reflect on their learning experience. Next, students are given a pledge. This pledge helps them to connect the lesson content to their own life and well-being. Excerpts from the lesson plan. The first one is teacher asks students about their feelings after the lessons, which encourage reflection. And the second one is teacher asks volunteers to read their pledge. This gives students the opportunity to share on their thoughts, practice speaking, and learn from their friends. It is also helps reinforces positive values such as responsibility and cooperation. And I think that is all from our group. Thank you.